this is Alternatives to Small. Thank you so much for coming, and thank you to all of my subscribers. So today I'm doing something I am so excited about, and that's another book review. The book I will be talking about today is What Happened to You? Conversations on Trauma, Resilience and Healing by Dr. Bruce Perry and Oprah Winfrey. So that is how the book looks. Ndifuna uqala ndithethe why, like why did I want to get my hands on this book, and why do I think it's an important enough book to discuss on my platform. So, for the past 2 years or so, I've been quite intentional about like my healing journey. I've been very serious about working on myself and unlearning certain things that don't work for me anymore. And for the most part, I'm very, very, very happy with where I am. I am proud of the woman I'm becoming, and I've made progress, but I'm not gonna lie, there are these constant stumbling blocks within that journey of healing, and sometimes it feels like it's almost like a frustration point that I keep hitting. And it's because sometimes I will be in a situation, or I will have to relearn a lesson that I thought, I've clocked by now. And I will behave in a way that I thought I had outgrown or unlearned. And it can be quite frustrating. And, when I try to sometimes please people, or when I find it difficult to say no, or into ezinjalo manje I'm frustrated because I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with me? And when this book came out and I was checking it out, reviews and everything, I was like, this is the book for me based on the book's premise alone. So the premise of the book, essentially, it's like shifting the question from what is wrong with you to what happened to you. And it really just talks about how childhood experiences, and the things we go through and experience as children at a very from the time you are literally in your mother's womb and when you're a toddler and all of that stuff, as a zindo, have such a great impact on how you behave and how you see the world. And I was quite interested in that, because as Nyizindo obviously is buried in your subconscious and you don't understand it. And this book, it really, this book is like a conversation, right? So it's a conversation in the literal sense. It's a conversation between Oprah Winfrey and Dr. Bruce Perry, but they also describe the book as being a conversation between the human experience and science, right? So I think eyona kuthiwa yintoni undoqo ngale ncwadi is that it gives scientific insights into behaviors that we ourselves struggle to understand about ourselves. Yo guys, and it's the kind of book that, unlike if I'm reviewing a novel, or I don't know, where I can talk about the plot and re-summarize the different characters, what I liked, it's not that kind of book. It's like what I got from the book will definitely be very different from what you may get from the book. I think it's a very deeply personal book, and I would say that what you get out of it, like what you put in, and by that I mean how willing are you to just be open and vulnerable and honest with yourself, and think about certain things. It's like it really requires that level of investigation and questioning and just vulnerability. I will try and talk about some of the points in the book that really the mover. They were light bulb moments and that. So one of the things that I really appreciated in the book is how Dr. Perry, in conversation with Oprah, uyawayityebisa indaba ye-trauma, because that's a term that we just use anyhow, to be quite honest. And for a lot of us, and he even says that in the book, we tend to associate trauma, the word or what it means, with these big events, umzekelo physical abuse, or something I don't know, a car accident, okay, would be traumatic experience. But he says that, trauma can arise from the quieter, less obvious experiences in our lives. And he makes examples of being part of, a marginalized group. He makes examples of like shame, how shame and humiliation can be traumatic events, and emotional abuse. So izinto that to the naked eye awuzumbona ubani ubethiwe okanye ubani ebekwinto ethile but ufumaniseke uba. And for me, especially those chapters bezingena kakhulu kuloo nto, because hey, how do I discuss this book without being too personal? Because it is a deeply personal book. It's a heavy book. There's even a note from both of the authors that this is not a book that you can just I'm a very fast reader, but I'm telling you, this book took me a good 2 weeks to finish reading. Something that really spoke to me in the book is also when Oprah and Dr. Perry were talking about like resilience, and it spoke to me a lot because it's something that I have been kind of struggling with, in the sense that as a young Black woman, the messages that I receive not only from the media but from my family, from my community and everything, is that like a woman is strong. Like zonke i-characteristics ezipeyintwayo kwi-Black woman is like, as umfazi uyaqina, you are strong, uyimbokodo and all of that. And as a result, I can't think of too many instances, if I can think of any at all, growing up where I saw women in my life and women around me in like vulnerable moments, or like my mom crying. I never saw my mom crying growing up, and I am pretty sure there were reasons that like kwakumele alile, but or complain or anything, like and you carry it, and I don't know. And the dissonance for Mna was like, I grew up and I am this woman who doesn't fit into this picture of what a strong Black woman looks like. I am, for example, I'm open. I talk about things. Secondly, I express my emotions, and I'm a bit of a crybaby, even like I cry, express my emotions and all of that. And I used to think this like makes me weak. And even when I would try to be like, okay, it wouldn't, and so I'll be like, is there something wrong with me in that department? And I even bookmarked it for the purposes of this video, but in page 190, Oprah asks a similar question. Let me just read the question to Oprah. One of the most thought-provoking things you've ever said is that children are not born resilient. They are born malleable. Will you please explain the difference? And okay, I don't know if I should paraphrase. In fact, let me just, guys, please allow me to read Dr. Perry's response, because I don't want to miss anything in trying to paraphrase, right? So he says, if you take a Nerf ball and squeeze it, bend it, apply all kinds of force to it, it will, in the end, return to its original ball-like shape. That Nerf ball is resilient. This is the kind of resilience that people are talking about when they are talking about children being resilient in the wake of trauma. They're indulging in a wishful thinking that a child could experience a traumatic stress and somehow magically be unaffected, as though the child would be able to return to their prior level of emotional, physical, social, and cognitive health unchanged. Ne? Azothi ba, obviously, as they've discussed in the book, Azoti, when you think about that, like irresilience, it shouldn't be thinking about it in that like Nerf ball thing or like idea, ne? Yoba something yenzeka kuwe and you get up and you dust yourself and again, because that's a wishful sort of thinking. He says that think about a metal hanger. Let's say you need to fish something out of a drain and the hanger is your best tool. You apply force to bend it into shape you apply force to bend it into the shape you want. The hanger is malleable. When the job is done, you try to bend it back to its original shape. But even if you are a champion hanger bender, you won't get it to exactly how it was. And there will be weaknesses in the places where you had bent it. And if you were to keep bending and restoring it in the same places, the hanger would ultimately break. He then says, now we talked earlier about resilience, and it's true that both children and adults can demonstrate resilience, as they say in their field. And he says that you can demonstrate it, you can build it, but it's not like in that nerf ball sense. It's not this automatic property of childhood, And yay, listen, I would like to think of myself as quite resilient. But it's not like this thing that I wear as a badge of honor in the way that the messaging that I receive about like womanhood and black womanhood and just strength and stuff, from now, like I will fall and I will rise and I will hurt and I will but those things have an impact on me. Those things definitely change me in ways. And in some instances, I'm aware of, okay, man, this is why. But other times, I'll make an example. I like to, I guess, do you call it a motto? Like my one thing that like I try to live my life by is courage, right? I always just want to be courageous. I always try to be courageous. Listen, I'm a very dioika and dilikoala and all of those things, but when I want something, I really, really try to, just courageously go after it, and I dream big. I try not to aim for izinto that are within my arm's reach. But let me tell you, every time I try ukwenza into, okanye I apply for something or I work towards something and it doesn't work out and I catch an L, that it does something. It does something to my confidence. It does something to my energy and everything. And that doesn't mean that andizuvuka ngomso and try again and try even harder and work on it, but it's still that sense of, oh, okay, I have been rejected in this way, and and I don't know, I don't feel like I have the range to truly communicate how powerful this book has been for me, and how eloquently Oprah and Dr. Perry spoke about trauma and pain and everything. And not only that, they don't just raise your level of awareness to certain things, but bayakuncedisa ngokunika ii-tools zoba uzisebenzise to essentially work towards your healing. And I think that's very important, especially because not a lot of us, like not sonke we get the opportunity basiye kwi-therapy, or we have access to it, or it will work for us or sometimes. So those tools, where they are not a substitute for actual like therapy or whatever, but like it helps to have your awareness raised, to be enlightened in a certain way. It really helps to be able to pinpoint certain things, and also to have like a bit of like a plan of action in terms of how to move about it. And there's a chapter that then talks about like post-traumatic wisdom. And another thing that I found important okanye apha encwadini is when Dr. Perry and Oprah Winfrey were talking about how as people we like to turn our gaze away from pain. Nobody wants to be identified as being traumatized. But like people want to be seen as thriving, and we see it like in pop culture, like with interviews, the idols, we see it like literally every day. We see it on social media in terms of how we portray ourselves and everything. Is we want to be seen as thriving. You catch your L's in private and then you thrive like visibly, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. It's probably the best method and whatever. I don't know, I'm not a psychologist, child, but the point is that as people we want to turn our gaze away from the pain, and sometimes it then delays us from healing, right? Okay, so to end this video, I want to share like a bit of a, I guess, personal experience with you guys as it relates to the book also and what it has done for me. You know, I literally today, this morning, I was super emotional. I went to work and my eyes, like Nendine eye bags a bit. I was just weeping. And I was crying because certain dots were starting to connect. Yeah, for even the past 2 years, I've just literally been on this journey and actively working in all of those things towards my healing. And I had always imagined healing to be this like moment, you know, or arrive and it looks a particular way and you feel a particular way and you know you'll have healed based on, you know. And I realized that this morning that I will be like, you know, you are healing, and in many respects you have healed, and you've done so sometimes without the necessary tools and the support that you would have needed or to make that process smoother and even quicker. But hey, umzekelo, even like with this channel, which I love so much, I love Alternatives to Small and what it's teaching me and allowing me to learn and to do, in that I realized that, you know, it's been things that have happened like more recently, people mean that, you know what, I'm quite okay now. I'm okay with being seen, and I'm okay with just being me. Do you understand what I mean? Fully me. You know, when I was uploading my vlog last night, and I mean, it's not the best vlog. It didn't even come out like the way I probably planned in my head and everything, but I was okay with it. I was like, I want to send it out. Even the closing clip, I was just like me, and I didn't try too hard to say, and I realized that it doesn't matter. And for me, that's healing. Just being okay with being seen as I am, unfiltered, and just being my most authentic self. It's so liberating, and it makes me emotional because I'm almost like sort of like sad for, like, I guess, business terms, my wounded inner child. I'm like sad for like Ubongani, all these years that, you know, really tried too hard and really just didn't think she was enough, and wanted validation and acceptance and all of those things. And now to finally be at an age, to finally be at an age where I am not afraid to, number one, be seen trying, because I know that's something that holds a lot of people back, and it's held me back also. And to like not be so paralyzed by my L's and my failures. In fact, in perspective, yamu, it's changed drastically. Like, things happen and I am able to genuinely see that they're working for my good. That's not always been like that. I'm able to let people go gracefully, people who aren't meant to be in my life. And now when I can see by, okay, I'm you know, I'm able more gracefully. And I man, guys, ah man, above all, I'm so grateful. I am so grateful, and Lencwadi has really confirmed a lot of things for me. It's connected certain dots, like the dots have been there, because I'm a self-aware person, and I like to think of myself as being emotionally intelligent and all of that. But like now those dots are like connecting, and I don't care about a lot of things anymore. Like umzekelo, even if you watched my vlog, I was talking about how I'm done with that whole please subscribe, please share, please don't, not because there's anything wrong with it, but because now I'm more secure in like the fact that like if I am actually putting out content that I like and that I enjoy and that's meaningful to me, if you as the person watching it, it resonates with you in any way, you are going to like it without me having to be like, oh please, do you get me? And that's so liberating, and I think that's also going to help make me more consistent on my channel. And just I'm looking forward, like my future, not just in terms of like my channel and all of those things, like my future. Yeah, so I think I'm just going to end it here for now, and I would, recommend this book. It's a wonderful book. Don't let the subject matter like sort of scare you or anything. I really think this is a book worth investing in and reading at your own pace in your own time. It is quite pricey. I got it for 445 on Takealot, but I mean it's something you can save towards, and or can you check your PDF if there is PDF available. Oh my god. Yeah, that is it. Thank you. Engosini kakhulu, ndiyanithanda, ndiyabulela, and see you on my next video.